Welcome to the game we all partake in, life, a complex, multifaceted, and constantly evolving game. Just like any game, it comes with its own set of rules, rewards, and challenges. But unlike others, this game has a unique twist. We are often players, maneuvering through the twists and turns, following a script handed to us by society, by our upbringing, and by our circumstances. This script, it shapes our actions, our thoughts, and even our dreams. It dictates the way we react to situations and the choices we make. It's like a well-rehearsed play, where we know our lines by heart and perform them dutifully, day in and day out. It's comfortable, predictable, and safe. But have you ever stopped to question this script? Have you ever wondered if there's more to the game than just playing by the rules? What if we could change our roles from mere players to directors? What if we could take control and rewrite this script? This idea might sound daunting, even impossible. After all, we are conditioned to believe that life happens to us rather than for us. But what if I told you that you have the power to change the game? That you can challenge the status quo and create your own script? The key lies in recognizing that we are not just players in the game of life. We are also the directors. We have the power to influence the plot, to change the course of events, and to redefine the rules. It's not about discarding the old script entirely, but about editing it, refining it, and making it work for us. In the coming scenes, we'll delve deeper into this concept. We'll explore how we can harness our internal and external intentions, awaken the observer within us, and ultimately rewrite the script of our lives. Life is not a script, it's a playground. And in this playground, the possibilities are endless. We just need to open our minds, embrace the unknown, and start rewriting the rules. So, are you ready to take control of your game? But what if you could rewrite this script? The first step to rewriting the script is recognizing it. Let's pause for a moment and take a good look at the patterns we often fall into in life. These patterns, these recurring sequences of events, they form the script of our lives. The script that we follow, sometimes without even realizing it. Consider the metaphor of a dream. In our dreams, we find ourselves acting out roles that feel all too familiar, don't we? In the dream world, just like in our waking life, we act based on the script that our consciousness holds. If you're used to losing in real life, your dream self might lose too. If you're used to running away from conflict, your dream self might flee as well. This is because our dream world navigates through a realm of possibilities according to the script we're accustomed to. But let's step back and ask ourselves, why should we act out the same roles even in our dreams? Why should we let the script dictate the course of events, even in a world where anything is possible? The truth is, we don't have to. We can choose to act differently. We can choose to influence the external world, to rewrite the script. Instead of resisting or escaping, we could imagine that the attacker in our dream turns into a harmless frog. This is not about willing the transformation, but about allowing for that possibility. This is the power of external intention. It arises from the unity of soul and mind, not from willful effort. It's about achieving this unity, about allowing for a scenario instead of willing it. But to harness this power, we must first be aware of the script that we're following. As long as we're not conscious of the script, we can't control it. We can't change the outcome. We're simply acting out our roles, following the patterns that have been laid out for us. But what if we could become aware and consciously change the outcome? The key to changing our scripts lies in the power of external intention. Imagine this. You're in a dream facing an adversary. Your instinct might be to fight or flee, but what if you could change the script? This is where the concept of external intention comes into play. External intention is the unity of soul and mind. It's not born out of forceful effort, but rather it springs forth when your soul and mind are in harmony. Your internal intention or will should be directed towards achieving this unity. In this sense, external intention isn't a product of will, it operates independently from it. But how does this relate to changing our scripts? Well, let's go back to our dream scenario. If you're faced with an attacker, instead of reacting as you normally would, you can use external intention to change the course of events. You can imagine your attacker transforming into something harmless, like a frog. Now, You're not exerting any force to turn them into a frog. Rather, you're allowing for that possibility. Your internal intention is focused on visualizing this transformation, permitting such a scenario. If your mind fully embraces this possibility, your soul won't object. This unity between your soul and mind gives rise to external intention, which in turn brings about the desired scenario. The key to harnessing the power of external intention, however, lies in awareness. As long as a dream or even reality is not consciously perceived, it simply happens. Most of our actions, whether in dreams or waking life, are relatively unconscious. If you view your life as being influenced by external factors beyond your control, you're letting your reality happen. The rules of your game are set by the external world. But if you switch from being a participant to an observer, constantly aware of your inner workings, you can take control. You can change your script, both in dreams and in reality. But to harness external intention, we must first become aware. To gain control, both over a dream and over real life, it's necessary to switch from the role of a participant to the role of an observer. In doing so, you don't cease to participate in the role play and still fulfill your role. However, you constantly have your inner observer at work. This might seem like a simple shift, but it's a pivotal move that can drastically change the course of our dreams and reality. Imagine a theatre production where you're the main actor. You're deeply engrossed in your character, so much so that you forget you're acting. The script continues to unfold, and you react as per your character's written traits. But what if you could step back, observe, and then decide how you want your character to respond? That's the power of the observer. The observer is not a passive entity. It's an active role that allows us to rise above our habitual responses and see the bigger picture. It's the part of us that can discern the scripts we've been following unconsciously, and then make a conscious choice to change them. Let's take a step back and look at our lives as a play. We're not just the actors, we're the playwrights too. We've been handed scripts by society, by our parents, by our past experiences. These scripts tell us how to behave, how to react, and even how to feel. But as the observer, we can choose to rewrite these scripts. We can decide to react differently, to feel differently. The observer empowers us to question the status quo. It allows us to ask, is this script serving me? Is it bringing me joy, fulfillment, and growth, or is it holding me back? And if we find that the script is not serving us, the observer gives us the courage to tear it up and start afresh. The shift from participant to observer is not a one-time event, it's a continual process of self-awareness and self-growth. It requires us to be mindful, to question our actions and reactions, and to constantly strive for a better version of ourselves. And as we continue to cultivate this observer perspective, we'll find that we're not just changing our dreams, but our reality too. We're not just rewriting our scripts, we're reshaping our lives. And with this new perspective, we can begin to rewrite our scripts. Once we become aware, we can start to rewrite our scripts. This is your game, your rule. Imagine having the power to rewrite the script of your life, to change the narrative, the characters, the plot twists. You can do it. It all begins with awareness, an understanding that you are the author, not just a character in your life story. Once you grasp this idea, the possibilities for transformation are endless. Like a sculptor molding clay, you can shape your reality, altering the contours of your life until they align with your true desires. So question your script. What parts of your life are running on autopilot? Which aspects seem to be following a predetermined path? These are the areas begging for a rewrite. Consider the possibilities for change. If your script includes a fear of public speaking, could you change it to a love for captivating an audience? If your script has you stuck in a job you despise, could you rewrite it to include a career that fulfills you? The power of transformation lies within you, but it's not enough to simply rewrite your script. You must also believe in it. You must fully embrace the changes you wish to see, allowing them to seep into your subconscious and permeate your dreams. This process of rewriting is not a one-time event, but a continuous journey. As you grow and evolve, so too should your script. Don't be afraid to make edits, to cross out lines, to add new chapters. Even without considering external intention, your ability to control the situation is directly proportional to your awareness. In dreams, your level of awareness is low, so the dream happens to you. However, if you realize you're dreaming, the situation is under your control. You can do whatever you want. Your susceptibility to the influence of people and destructive pendulums is inversely proportional to your awareness. In dreams, you behave like a zombie. If you're chased by a nightmare, you run away and can't do anything about it. The script is yours, but you've handed it over for editing to an external director. You're trapped by your habitual notions of how events should unfold. These are your notions, but they dictate their will to you, making you merely an actor, that is, a victim. Think about what happens when you get involved in some problem. For example, a colleague approaches you and says a certain task needs to be done. If this is somewhat of a problem for you, your first reaction is worry, if not depression. Instantly, you play out several scenarios in your mind. The task is difficult. How will I manage it? Oh, I don't want to. What a troubled and difficult life I have. If I don't do the task, then... and so on. At this moment, you've engaged in the game, succumbed to influence, or in other words, fallen asleep. You can be easily led by the hand like an obedient child into a room where a difficult and burdensome task awaits you. You found yourself on the lifeline where this is indeed the case. And it happened because you allowed the pendulum to hypnotize you and impose its game of problem onto you. By playing out the problematic scenario in your consciousness, you achieved alignment of soul and mind in worry, and external intention immediately moved you to the problematic lifeline. It's not that difficult, as feelings such as fear, hopelessness, dissatisfaction, worry and concern easily take hold of us. And what served as the initial cause? Significance. You got drawn into the game or put to sleep simply because you valued the game as important in and of itself, and for you, external and internal significance. Now imagine a different scenario. Someone approaches you, bringing a problem your way. In that moment, shake yourself awake and tell yourself that you're not asleep, and it's up to you whether you turn the first push of the pendulum into a problem for you or not. This is the first condition for controlling the situation. Now, to fulfill the second condition, resolve to thwart this pendulum. Even without knowing what awaits you, set your mindset that it will be a mere trifle. The key is not to let yourself be led by the hand. Don't take any offensive steps, don't refuse, don't try to evade, and certainly don't get annoyed. Just calmly listen to what they want from you. Outwardly, it's preferable to nod and agree, but internally you must remain a detached observer, not a participant. This is the role of the acting spectator, akin to a coaching observer. Being detached in this case doesn't mean being absent-minded. On the contrary, controlling the situation implies attention and clear thinking. Standing aside means realizing that you set the rules of the game, and it's up to you whether the game turns into a tragedy or a light comedy. So, what do you want? Probably for everything to be resolved easily and simply. If you believe that there's always a complex problem that needs dealing with, you can rest easy. Any complex problem has a simple solution. This solution lies on the comedy lifeline. To switch to this lifeline, all it takes is intending to imagine that things will go exactly that way. By applying this technique, you'll be pleasantly surprised. Outcomes can be incredibly diverse. At the very least, the problem will indeed be solved very easily, or perhaps it will simply disappear or be delegated to someone else. After all, on the comedy lifeline, there are simply no complex problems. You don't have control over external intention, but you do make it so that firstly, it doesn't work against you, and secondly, you get a chance to make it work in your favor. Circumstances can unfold in various ways, including not in your favor. However, such a position sharply increases your chances. Don't forget to trust the flow of possibilities. If the degree of unity between soul and mind in the comedy mood regarding the problem is high enough, you'll achieve astounding results that you couldn't even dream of before. You're no longer a puppet. I must caution you against the temptation to imagine yourself as a puppeteer. As you understand, this disrupts the balance and you'll inevitably get a slap on the nose at the first signs of conceit, feelings of superiority, contempt, or, heaven forbid, disdain for others. You'll never have absolute control over everything that happens, even in dreams. Remember, you only have the right to choose, not to change. Be at home, but remember that you're a guest. It's also important to remember that when leasing yourself out, you must act flawlessly. A comedy attitude towards the problem is not laxity or carelessness, but a sober assessment of significance. It would be a mistake to interpret awareness as a desire to control the surrounding world. The mind is accustomed to insisting on its own way, trying to change the course of events, in other words, fighting against the current. If you've descended into the audience, there's a temptation to change the script by force, to impose your will on the actors. Such behavior has nothing to do with transurfing, as it relies solely on the internal intention to fight against the current. Keep reminding yourself that you must go with the flow of possibilities. Awareness is not control but observation. Control is only directed at not floundering in negativity, at presenting a favorable scenario and allowing it to enter your life, embracing it wholeheartedly. Not imposing your script on the world, but allowing its possibility, letting the variant unfold and allowing yourself to have it. You'll stop fighting against the world and will only allow yourself to choose when the soul and mind come to unity. The role of the observer is much more engaging than that of the performer. As is known, commanders, leaders and other executives take a more active life position than mere performers, not only because their responsibility is higher. Workers in managerial positions are more like observers than performers. Their position requires them to be more awake, compared to ordinary workers who may be sleepwalking while performing their duties. By assuming the role of the observer, you'll immediately feel a surge of energy, and your vitality will increase because now you're not just gloomily executing someone else's will, but creating your own destiny. Taking responsibility for your destiny is not a burden, but freedom. The difference between humans and animals lies not so much in the level of intellect as in the degree of awareness. Animals are in a more sleepy state. Their behavior is mainly determined by stereotypical scenarios laid down by nature, manifested in instincts and reflexes. Animals act as if they're performing a play according to a rigid script that cannot be changed. In this regard, humans are more awake. They are more aware of themselves as individuals and their place in the world. Nevertheless, the level of human awareness is still very low. Humans play their game while being on stage. They are wholly absorbed in this game. The secret of so-called smart people lies in awareness. The clarity of mind is determined by the degree of awareness. Some people think clearly and express themselves clearly, while others have confusion in their minds. Sharpness of mind on one hand and dullness on the other are not degrees of intellectual development, but different degrees of awareness. Dullness is rather a psychological defense against unwanted information. I don't want to know anything, leave me alone. A sharp mind, on the other hand, is openness, curiosity, a desire to receive and process information. I want to know everything. Dullness sometimes results from inhibition. Both can be developed in childhood, for example, when a child is forcibly made to learn something accompanied by psychological pressure. The deeper we sleep while awake, the more mistakes we make. A fly hitting against a window is also fast asleep. Immersion headlong into the game doesn't allow us to see reality broadly and objectively. Being fixated on the game narrows the focus of perception and puts up a barrier. Making mistakes for this reason, a person later wonders, where were my eyes? As if under some spell. Even on April Fool's Day, when a person knows they might be pranked, they still fall into the trap. Isn't that like a waking dream? Unconsciousness to some extent occurs when a person does not want to face reality head-on. The desire to escape from impending reality forces an ostrich to bury its head in the sand. In humans, this manifests as a tendency to shut oneself off from the outside world. I see nothing, I hear nothing, I want nothing, leave me alone. Completely burying oneself under the covers and falling asleep is not possible, so a person involuntarily seeks to block their perception, reducing the level of awareness. For example, a non-aggressive and harmless person tries to shield themselves from an imminent blow. But they cannot deflect the blow because awareness is blocked by fear, and their reaction is slowed down as if a veil has fallen over their eyes. Rage blocks awareness in the same way. A person is completely immersed in the game and sees and hears nothing around them, hence the term blind rage. Fear and anger are extreme manifestations of unconsciousness. Pendulums constantly try to gently lull our vigilance. Advertising, for example, has a zombie-like effect, taking advantage of the fact that people spend most of their time in a semi-conscious state. Awareness, as a clear perception of the surrounding reality, is manifested only occasionally when circumstances pump adrenaline into the blood. That's why it's so difficult to do such a simple thing, to wake up in a dream and tell yourself, "Hey guys, stop fooling me, this is just a dream. And since it's my dream, I'm the boss here, not you." Awareness also helps to draw intuitive information from the subconscious. This can be done by catching yourself thinking, "Why do I suddenly want to do this?" The voice of the soul speaks softly, barely audible. In response, the mind shouts, "Shut up, I know what I want and what to do." You need to develop a habit of constantly listening to the whisper of the morning stars. In a semi-conscious state, it's almost impossible to remember in time what needs to be noticed, what the inner voice is saying. Even if you gave yourself a firm instruction in the morning to listen to the voice of your soul, you won't remember it at the right moment if you're asleep. So we've established that the unity of soul and mind generates external intention, and awareness provides a chance to align it with our interests. Unity of soul and mind in a dream is achieved so easily for the simple reason that the soul is free from the authoritarian control of the mind. In lucid dreaming, control is present, but it's only directed at correcting the script. Everything else, even things that defy common sense, is allowed. In Hans Christian Andersen's tale, The Tinderbox, there's a scene where a princess, convinced she's dreaming, agrees to walk with a soldier on the roof. Similarly, in a dream, the mind allows anything, but in reality, it again desperately clings to its materialistic worldview. Achieving unity of soul and mind beyond the bounds of common sense won't be as simple. Common sense is our lifelong cell, and breaking free from it isn't easy. A person may be fascinated by mystical teachings, float in the clouds, believe in the incredible, but there's always room for doubt in this belief. The mind may pretend to believe, but deep down it knows that apples still fall to the ground. That's why it's so difficult to completely align external intention with our own. Nevertheless, you can see for yourself through experience that awareness indeed sharply increases the odds. Maximum awareness is achieved when the observer is constantly present in your consciousness. It objectively evaluates what's happening, whose interests the game serves, and ensures that you're not dragged into this game as a puppet. Remember every minute that you need to remember, are you asleep or not? You can engage in lucid dreaming if you're not afraid. But the dream will pass, and grim reality will set in. Wouldn't it be better to engage in conscious living? As you can see, this alternative gives you the opportunity to arrange the layer of your world according to your taste. The choice is yours. It's time to take control, rewrite your script, and play the game of life by your own rules. I hope this video gave you a new perspective. Subscribe for more empowering content. See you next time.